Some have questioned whether these crimes are crimes of opportunity or if they are crimes of hate. For me, this debate is academic. Real-life challenges like the ones we face today don't fit neatly into a single category. I believe the victims of these attacks were targeted for who they are and because they were perceived as vulnerable. No matter how we view these attacks, one thing is certain. We cannot stand on the sidelines and simply wish this problem away. All of us, community leaders, elected officials, the police department, and our youth have an important role to play in addressing this challenge. So we are here today, standing together as one community to declare that the superficial things that divide us are not nearly as strong as those things that bind us together. And that an attack against any member of our community is an attack against us all. We will not stand by and allow hate to take root in our community. Resolving this issue will take time, and though we will have setbacks along the way, we will never give up. We will never give up on our youth, we will never give up on our neighborhood, and we will never give up on our island. This is our home, and we will do whatever it takes to make it safe and welcoming for everyone, regardless of their race, nationality, sexuality, or religion. This, for some have asked me in a very subtle way, and some in not such subtle ways, if what we are witnessing is a racial conflict between blacks and Latinos on Staten Island. I'd like to take a moment to address this issue directly. Let us be very clear that the perpetrators of these attacks in no way represents the African American community, or more broadly, the Staten Island community. When I speak to African Americans, Mexicans, members of the LGBT community, Muslims, the conversation is always the same. That everyone wants the perpetrators of these crimes brought to justice. Everyone wants our streets to be safe again. The spotlight has been on Port Richmond because there have been a cluster of bias attacks here. But this is not the only neighborhood dealing with this problem. A gay couple was attacked in Stapleton. A Russian woman was attacked in Grasmere. And the entire Staten Island community must come together and has come together to address this issue. And I am so proud to say that that is exactly what is happening. Last month, we launched the I Am Staten Island campaign, and the response from government officials, the NYPD, community, and faith-based organizations has been tremendous. Some of the members of the coalition have been working on these issues for years, while others are pretty new to Staten Island. And whenever we see individuals sitting at the table together, bringing their hearts and their minds to this work, I become filled again with the hope that we will be a united community. We have had our first meeting only 3 weeks ago. But already we have launched a website and formed several committees to tackle this challenge from multiple angles. We are working with the police department to establish civilian patrols. We are working with the schools to incorporate diversity and tolerance programs into the curriculum. And we are working with our community groups to coordinate more activities to keep our youth engaged while they are not at school.
And tonight we are expanding our efforts of saying no to hate violence by announcing a 10-point plan to support I Am Staten Island. A 10-point plan that engages government, community leaders, and community institutions on Staten Island. Let me take you through it. 1, the Department of Transportation is going to work with us and implement a public service campaign on the Staten Island Ferry. In the ferry terminal, in and around the boats, the Department of Transportation, and I want to thank them for being with us today, is going to launch and implement a public service campaign against hate violence. 2, we're going to involve communities of faith. The weekend of September 18th on Staten Island is going to be the Interfaith Weekend Against Hate. Religious leaders of all denominations throughout the borough of Staten Island will make their services that weekend committed to a unified interfaith message against hate. In addition, we're going to have religious roundtables building off the important work that has already begun and the important work of the September 18th weekend, going to continue to build and expand the religious community on Staten Island in their work against hate. I want to make note that this weekend, we're very proud that Reverend Al Sharpton is going to join us at Assumption St. Paul Church at 5:30 to join with us and the Mexican community in Staten Island and preach against hate. And I want to thank Tamika Mallory for being with us here today. And before Mass at 2:30, we're going to have a religious walk around in the community to send a united message against hate. We're also going to involve the youth and the Department of Education. City Council, in the budget we passed in June, allocated $300,000 to the Department of Education to expand their Respect for All program to include high schools in this anti-violence training and curriculum. We have spoken to the Department of Education, and they're going to offer targeted, focused resources and coordination to the schools on Staten Island first and foremost before the school year begins with the Respect for All curriculum and training. They're also going to work with us to provide particular support in schools to engage the students, the principals, and assistant principals. We're also going to work with local businesses as part of our 10-point plan. The City Council is launching today a public-private partnership. We in the Council are taking the responsibility to raise private and philanthropic funds to make sure that the businesses on Staten Island who have said clearly that they need security cameras to keep themselves and their patrons safe, that we get them the resources they need to buy and install those cameras. And it's important to note that a camera a business owner had was a key part of apprehending one of the perpetrators who has been apprehended, and we're going to launch that public-private partnership to get the Port Richmond business corridor the surveillance cameras they need. We're also going to bring the Department of Transportation out to Staten Island to come up with a plan for what we need to do to improve and expand streetlights in the area of Port Richmond to make sure there are brighter corridors to help reduce crime. We're also going to work with business owners to create safety zones, to have business owners throughout the borough of Staten Island identify themselves as safety zones where young people and others can go in, use a phone, be in a safe place if they've been the victim of a crime or they believe they're being targeted for a crime. We're also going to involve community services organizations in our efforts. We're going to organize training for all of the social services on Staten Island, whether they are victim targeted or not, to make sure that in the months ahead, every social service organization on Staten Island is sending a message against hate violence to those they are interacting with. I want to thank the City University of New York. The College of Staten Island has a tremendous amount of experience in diversity training, and they are going to work with us to implement diversity training for all community organizations that want it on the borough of Staten Island. Also, last night I participated with Councilmember Rose, Terry Troya, in a meeting with young people. One of the things the young people said at that meeting that was so heartbreaking was that they were afraid to go to some of the parks on Staten Island, that they didn't feel safe. We took that message and their message about lighting to the departments today, and the Department of Parks, and I want to thank them for having a representative here, is going to conduct a safety assessment, first of all the parks in the Port Richmond area and then the rest of the parks throughout Staten Island to come up with what we need to improve safety, and then we in the City Council are going to work to make sure the Parks Department gets the resources they need to implement that safety plan. The library on Staten Island has also agreed to partner with us in this effort. They are going to be a safe zone, and they are going to expand programming in the libraries throughout the borough, targeting diversity, tolerance, and sending a message within our libraries against hate violence. This 10-point plan, joined with the efforts of law enforcement, is going to send a blanketed message throughout this borough. Everywhere, our goal is to make sure everywhere you turn, you see and feel a message.